and military expert, defense analyst Walter Dorn. Walter, good to see you on this Monday. Appreciate your time. Your take on this new earlier deadline. What does it mean?
Well, hello, Todd. And yes, I think that Trump is feeling a lot of frustration with Putin now. He had originally promised that he would end the war within 24 hours of his taking office. He tried to negotiate between the two leaders and put pressure on them. And it looked like Ukraine was going to be allowing the negotiations to go forward and doing some substantive steps. But Russia just kept up bombing. And so Trump even described some strategic initiative based on his wife's analysis. She said, while you're talking to him and having phone calls with President Putin, he's bombing more cities in Ukraine. So I think Trump just had enough of Putin's conversations and said, well, now we need to take some action finally.
Listen, my other question for you is, does Vladimir Putin care at all? You know, you talk to Russian experts and they say, obviously, the Russians don't want any more sanctions, but this is unlikely to really change the calculus much in Moscow. That the Russians are willing to withstand extreme pain and huge casualties in order to get what they want, and they likely won't care what Trump actually does. What do you think? Is that accurate?
Yes, Todd, I think that it won't make much difference to Russia, but at the same time, it is a little more pressure, and there needs to be lots more pressure. And Trump even raised the idea of secondary sanctions, which is putting sanctions on countries that are trading with Russia. And that's something that he hasn't threatened before. And if that threat becomes real, then it could make a big difference for Russia, because Russia has all of these means to trade with other countries that are not Western countries. And if the United States poses tariffs or sanctions on those countries, then Russia will have less means to be able to get the goods that it wants from the West and trade in general. So there's a bit more bite, but certainly not enough to stop the war.
And the other issue, of course, is that the president is very aware of gas prices in the United States. And, you know, it gets very complicated, Walter, but you're familiar. If you start to target countries like Russia, China, and India over oil and gas, that could drive up the price of global oil. And that could lead to higher gas prices for American consumers as well. So it's all kind of interconnected here.
Yes, there's already a price cap for Americans buying Russian oil, but the Indians and the Chinese don't respect that price cap. And so the secondary sanctions could be difficult. If they were prohibited in buying oil from Russia, it could very well be that they would cause an increase in supply, and that would increase the price of oil in the world. And of course, the United States doesn't want that. At the same time, they could shift this cap around, so the price at which oil can be bought from Russia. And that's one means to be able to make it bearable at the same time as still being felt by Russia.
Do you still agree, Walter, before we go, with the assessment that at this point, I know it's very slow going, but that the Russians, militarily anyway, are slowly but surely winning this?
I wouldn't say the word winning, but they're gaining territory at a huge cost in Russian lives and to the Russian economy and to their worldwide reputation. So I think that the Russians, in a very narrow sense, by gaining territory, may have more leverage at eventual what will be the negotiating table. But the actual Russian gains are really ephemeral, because at the same time, this is just causing so much hemorrhaging blood and national treasure for Russia. It doesn't really make sense in an enlightened sense, for Russia to continue with this slaughter. And they're just causing so much bloodshed in Ukraine. They really have lost any battle for the Ukrainians to be able to accept even the territory that Russia has gained already. And even within those territories, it's just prolonging the pain. So not really a real victory for Russia with this kind of strategy.
Walter Dorn, a defense analyst, military expert as well. Walter, good to see you as always. Thanks for your time coming on CTV News on this Monday.
Okay, good to be with you, Todd.